Good evening, YouTube. What's up, everybody? So it's Thursday evening, and we're going to attempt to do the Form B grading questions. How's everybody out there? All right, the Form A gradings turned out to be a fiasco. That turned out to be a few parts long. Let me try to find this stream right now to make sure we're live. It's not showing up. All right, I'm going to just start up and then check it later. What's up, everybody? All right, so I think what I'm going to do is jump into question number 59 first. And I might spin off 58 by itself because I think it has kind of a few parts to it. And I don't think the other questions are too bad. So if the YouTube gods are with us and the SHSAT gods are with us, we should be able to get through this in a reasonable fashion. All right, so we're going to start with question number 59. This was one that a lot of you guys complained about last year, the so-called constant proportionality that this is dealing with because it talks about a proportional relationship. I like to look at illustrations first. I keep saying that. So let's just see what's going on. We have a bread recipe. We have oatmeal. We have raisins, and they're giving us X and Y here. Okay. Normally there's a table where there's an input and then the Y becomes the output. Okay. And we know normally Y equals something. So that's kind of a hint there as well. All right. And I'm just going to grok at this real quick. I'm noticing that all the Y's are half of all the X's. All right. I'm not sure if that's what they want us to notice or not. So there's really nothing else going on here on this table. So with that, let's go actually now look at the words. A lot of kids skip the words up here. These are still important. The table shows the proportional relationship between a cup of oatmeal, which is the X, and Y ounces of raisins. So these are in ounces, right? So if it's proportional, that means they're in ratio to each other. So we normally have an equation y equals kx. Okay, k is called the constant of proportionality. So if we would try to solve for k, therefore k is equal to y over x. That's the constant right there, that they're in ratio to each other. They're in proportion to each other. Okay, and then it says, what is the constant of proportionality of the number of ounces of raisins to the number of ounces to the cups of oatmeal? So we're getting raisins is to oatmeal, right? That's the y is to the x, okay? And in particular, when it's set up in this form, we can use what we just saw. So we just saw in the examples I gave that 2 is, 1 is to 2. That's a half. 1.5 is to 3. That's a half. And then 3 is to 6. That's a half. All right? So that's right there one way to determine that. For those of you who know how to do linear equations, we could also just do the delta y over the delta x. That should still work. So for instance, if we go from here to here, we have a difference of 2. And if we go from here to here, we have a distance of 4. That also gives us the half that way. Okay, since this is a grid-in, we need to put either 0.5 or 0.5 into our grid-in sheet, okay? And then don't bring it all the way over because the first column is the minus sign. So there's no negative involved here. If you did it correctly, you're only getting positive numbers here in this scenario for this question. All right, so this one wasn't too bad, and you can kind of just look at it, and that's what they're talking about with the constant of proportionality. They do not need to use that term. Also, even when it starts out by saying proportional relationship, they do not need to say that. And there's other terms they can use. They could use unit rate and also say a direct relationship, or there's also indirect relationships because the constant proportionality can also be an inverse proportionality. What's important to note here is that Let me change to Carlos for 2 seconds. If k is our constant, if x increases, then y is going to increase at the same rate. That's really what's important here, guys, all right? If x increases, then y is going to increase at the same rate because the constant won't change, all right? And that's why it all works here. And we can even fill in extra levels. They may have given us you something like 10 here. What would be the answer if that's 10? It would be 5 because it's half. All right, so if you will, our equation is y is equal to 0.5 or half of x. In this case, raisins were equal to half of the oatmeal. All right, so if I have 10 oatmeals, 10 cups of oatmeals, then I end up with 5 ounces of the other thing. That's all that's going on here. Okay, let me just check that we're live so I'm not talking to the ether. I've done that for hours at a time sometimes. And see if anybody's asked any questions as well. Okay, we're good. All right, so far, no problems. So let's see where we're going here. We'll go to the next question, which is 60. I'm not quite sure why they asked 60, but let's solve it and let's maybe talk about it. Kelly has 7.3 grams of sugar. She uses 2 grams of the sugar in her coffee. How many grams does she have left? So there's no unit conversion here. This is strictly, she starts out with 7.3 grams. She's going to take away 2.7 grams. And the question is, what are we left with? It's just normal subtraction. We're going to take 1 from the 7 and make it 6. That's 13 minus 7 is 6 there. And this should give us 4.6, right? Okay, that's the answer. I just checked the sheet. And that's all they're looking for. There's no unit conversion. I suppose that the premise of this is to make sure you're still getting this right when you're at the point of exhaustion. Also, some kids, they don't do that carry right. Some kids will even do 2.7 minus the 7.3 and get a negative answer. And you can't put negative grams of sugar into your coffee. At least I can't. So this one's pretty much a giveaway question. Just be careful. I see a few people in the lobby. Welcome. Hello. Anybody have any questions about what I'm covering? Please join into the conversation. Okay. We're going to do the next question. So I skipped question number 58. I'm gonna spin that off into its own thing here. So far, this is a fast stream. So please like and subscribe, share. Okay. 61 is weird. When I did my unboxing video, I put this into the errata as a heads up and HU, just because it's an unusually worded question. So the total cost of a book is given by 1.08x. So normally we'd have the cost of a book is just that or whatever, but they're adding on a tax. So we're going to get the cost is equal to 1.08 of the x. You got to realize this x normally is 1x. Okay, so then it's where x is the price of the book before the tax. So 1x is the price of the book before the tax, and after the tax is 1.08. It says the tax rate is M%. What is the value of M? All right, so some of you could just pretty much leave out that you know that this is an 8% increase. Theoretically, this is 1x plus the 0.08% of x. All right. Now, the gotcha here is that anything percent x, let me just use the M% means M over 100. By definition, this symbol here, that percent symbol, means divided by 100. You should almost always replace it. And this is how students get into trouble with 23% versus a 0.23%. 23% is 23 over 100. right? Or 0.23. 0.23% is 0.23 over 100, or 0.0023, right? Enough students will mess that up there. So be careful with that. So I think that's really where they're going here. They don't want you to say 0.023 versus whatever. So some students are going to say 108%. Some are going to say 8%. Some might even say 1%. I don't know. But if we look at what's going on here, it's being increased. It's the original price. That's the price of the book is 1x plus the price of the books including the tax. So 0.08 is 800ths. And if m%, as I just said, is the same as m over 100, then this must be 8%. And therefore, if it's modeling m%, m must be 8. That's all they're looking for there. So I assume enough students will grok this and get 8, and enough students will put the answer as 0.08, right? But remember, just from what I said, 0.08% is 8.08 over 100, right? And that's equal to 0.0008. That's a completely different number. Their magnitude difference is 100 because it's being divided by 100. So that's really what they're asking you to do there on that question there. Let me check to see that we're still live. We seem to be. So far, so good. Again, anybody has any questions? I'm trying to get this to be interactive. So if you have a question about what I'm talking about, ask it. If you have a question about what I'm not talking about, you can still ask it, and I'll try to get to it at the end. So we're going to do one more question for this stream. This is one of the fastest streams I've ever done then. But let's see, we're in 13 minutes, so that's not too bad. And like I said, I'll do question number 58 by itself. And so far, these are not necessarily nasty questions. So 62 says a row of seats in a theater contain 20 seats. They're numbered from 101 to 120. So basically, it's 101 ... to 120. So there's nothing, there's not a big deal here. Every seat is accounted for. The probability that a randomly chosen seat in this row will be numbered 104 is X%. If you notice, they're playing that same percent game right here. So it means X over 100. Okay, what is the value of X? So the question really is what's the chance of getting seat 104? Right? It's going to be stuck in the middle here. 104 is going to be stuck in the middle there. Well, there's only 20 seats, and there's only one seat number 104. So the possibility is 1 out of 20. Okay, and if we convert that to a percent, we can multiply by 5 and get 100 here, and multiply that by 5 and get 100 there. Well, this is the same as 5%. That's all they're looking for there. So there's a 5% chance of getting seat number 104 out of the 20 seats. All right? All right, does anybody have any questions about anything relating to that? Otherwise, I'm going to end the stream and probably start up another one just on that question number 58. Yes, no, maybe. All right, peace out. Please like, please subscribe, set your notifications, share this, whatever you want to do. And I'm probably going to stop another stream in 5 minutes. All right, peace.